Well, the question we all ask ourselves while watching Mississippi Burning is, where were we in 1964? I'll ask you the same thing, Gene.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say that I was in New York working on my own projects, you know, trying to make a living as an actor and not really involved in civil rights. And I think that was probably like a lot of Americans, that was something that was happening in Mississippi, and I was uninvolved with that, and it was really an arm's length deal. Mm-hmm. And I think the interesting thing about this film is that it's so compelling that I think people who will see it it'll be a revelation to them.
Early in the film, you have a dialogue with William Dafoe that's very crucial, I think, because what comes out of it is that people can die for their beliefs, and there are also people who can kill for their beliefs. Mm-hmm. Your characters in many of your films strike me as going both ways like that. Would you talk to that about that double-edged quality? You can kill and you can die for a belief.
Well, it's really a very simple kind of belief that I think that there are all things in all of us, that we're all capable under certain circumstances of doing very vile acts and being also very loving. And that what interests me about acting is that somewhat common characters put in uncommon situations. And what do you do? How do you react to certain things, given that you're a common man?
Do you think that's part of the secret of your attraction? People see you as that common man.
I think they probably do, for whatever reasons. You know, either I look like the common guy or act like him, or I am pretty common, you know, in many ways. I like to keep my personal life fairly common, so that in my art, one can let go and one can soar. That's not an original thought by me. It's something that I read, but I mean, it also is applicable.
Can you take us for a moment down into the swamp? Slogging away down on those locations must have made you feel pretty uncommon or common, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, some of the filmmaking is very uncomfortable. It's not terribly glamorous at all, and many times you do things that you'd prefer to be somewhere else, painting or
no trailers, no cosmetic people.
That's right. You get out and you really kind of have to rough it. And I'm not crying poor mouth. I mean, acting is a very well-paid profession once you reach a certain status. But there are times when you kind of pay for it also.
Very quickly, you were alluding earlier to the fact that you do paint. How serious is this? What's that all about?
Well, I've always drawn. I've drawn since I was a kid, and when I was when I first went to New York in the early '50s, I went to the Art Students League, and was able to study with Frank Riley there. And then I didn't get back to painting for about 30 years. And just recently I've taken up painting again, so it's
Have you ever thought of keeping
satisfying.
a sketchbook on the set?
I do that all the time. I sketch constantly on set.
What happens to these sketchbooks?
Well, I keep them. I have a whole drawer full of them, and I like to do little things of the wardrobe girl or the sound man or something like that. It keeps me out of trouble.
Wonder if I have about 30 seconds left to ask you about a very special quality you have, and that is controlled rage. Mm-hmm. Nobody laughs and grins like you do when you're angry on screen. Was that a conscious?
Well, I think that some of that comes out of my own personal sense of who I am, and we unfortunately work out of our own personalities as actors. And I say unfortunately because there's a lot of dark in us, and I think if we can get to that and produce that there's somehow or another an audience identifies with some of that.
Indeed.
If it's personal.
Gene Hackman, sometimes finding the uncommon in the commonplace man.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. We're talking about Mississippi Burning, and we're both in Washington, D.C. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV 5.